every time they having a conversation, he always ha 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 and put his hand on him. You know what I'm talking about? Oh man, you crazy, rubbing his head and like that, man. You don't let none of that slide. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta check that right at the door, or these dudes gonna keep doing this shit. 11:55. You got Officer Rodriguez. All right, y'all. Y'all got 5 minutes. Y'all got 5 minutes. Cold black. Cold black. Cold black. Oh, hell no. And you hear him on a walkie-talkie. They pull Larry ass right out that cell. Right out of the cell. He like, what? Man, I ain't douche. I ain't douche.
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
This prison story is about when I warned this white boy not to go to the prison shower by himself, but he ended up doing it anyway, and well, it didn't turn out right for him. I often wonder to myself, like, I done warned so many people, new people, especially young cats coming into prison, about the do's and don'ts of what you should do and what you shouldn't do in prison. And for the mass majority of these cats, they didn't listen, and they had to pay a crazy price, either with their life, their ass, or a piece of their flesh getting stabbed up. But it's like, why should I expect anything different when they wasn't listening to their parents or whoever that got them locked up in prison anyway? So why should they listen to me, right? Nevertheless, I got to give y'all this story. But before we get to this story, I need for y'all to do me a favor, okay? Do your big partner Donta a favor. A lot of y'all been asking about my short films and my horror films, right? I'm going to have the link to that pinned at the top of the comment section. Second, I got my gaming channel out already. A lot of y'all already subscribed to it, but I'm going to have that link pinned at the top of the comment section too. And third, but not least, I got Stacy Storytime out here, and she's telling phenomenal stories, so y'all make sure y'all check her out. Now let's get back to it. So I'm in the day room, right, and I'm drawing. I don't know if y'all knew that Donta can draw or not, but yeah, I can draw really good. So I'm drawing these Dragon Ball Z characters. And, you know, it's a Tuesday, and as y'all know, every Tuesday we get new inmates. This time we only got one guy, and it was a white dude. The white dude name was Robert. Robert was from Flint, Michigan. You see, Robert caught him a homicide charge because he ended up getting into a relationship with this woman or whatever that was 5 years older than him. And she had a boyfriend that just wouldn't, you know, give it up. He just wouldn't let the relationship go. And he kept trying to punk Robert. See, Robert was maybe at this time 17. And like I said, the woman was like 5 years older than him. So she was about 23. And her boyfriend was like 26, 27. And, you know, Robert ended up getting into a relationship with her. And the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend of him used to get into it all the time because he'd just, you know, show up at the apartment and whatever and, you know, cause trouble. Well, one day Robert got tired of that, and Robert got hold of a 380, and the dude kicked the door in to, I guess, beat up the ex-girlfriend or whatever. And Robert was there to save the day and hit him with that pow, pow, pow. Well, doing all that pow, 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 Robert ended up catching a homicide charge. He ended up pleading out to 15 to life. That means Robert have to do 15 years before he's eligible for parole. Now, Robert comes in my unit, and I see him. Every time you get new inmates coming in your unit, you got to make sure you out there to see what's going on. It could be an enemy. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be a foe. It could be somebody that owe you money from a different prison. It could be somebody that owe you for something on another yard or whatever the case may be. You got to make sure that you present front and center to make sure you know who coming up in here, because it could be a life and death situation. Now, Robert come in and I'm looking at him, and you know, they say never judge a book by its cover in prison. That's true. But in many cases, that ain't true. You know, Robert came in there timid. Looked like a deer, a shaking deer coming there. So I can already tell off the jump that, you know, he was new or whatever. Now, before I go on with this story, this was like later on in my bed, like towards the latter end of my bed. At this time, I wasn't doing the protection scheme. I wasn't offering weaker or timid inmates protection. Okay. I was just doing my own thing. I was just kicking back and relaxing because I didn't want to mess my parole up. So nevertheless, you know, I see him and I'm like, he ain't gonna make it. I know he ain't gonna make it. So while he's standing by the control booth, you know, I push up on him. And I'm like, hey, let me holler at you. So, you know, he tried to act like he was with it, you know, kind of urban, but you could tell he was just putting on the front. He said, what's up, OG? I said, here, man, come take a seat. I said, you got your cell assignment yet? He was like, no, not yet. Now, there was 3 cells open. It was Big Larry, my cell, and this old black dude that was racist in the motherfucker, right? So I tell him, like, hey, ask the guard, can you get put in my cell? I'm at A3. And he was like, A3? I was like, yeah, go ask him, can you get put in my cell? So he get up and he go to the control booth and, you know, he like, hey, can I get put in A3 as an open cell or whatever? So the guard come over there, he like, hey, Donta, is it cool for him to go in there with you? I said, yeah, he's straight, he good. He like, all right, bet. So I'm helping him go to the, you know, I help him, you know, I grab his bags, whatever, and we go to my cell. And I'm like, you ever did time before? He was like, no, I never did time. I said, what you in here for, man? He was like, I caught a body. I said, you caught a body? He was like, yeah, I caught a body. I said, what happened? He was like, man, I was, you know, my girlfriend, ex-boyfriend kicked in the door and I dropped him. I said, damn, for real? Like, was they cheating? Was she cheating on you? Or he was like, no, dude, just wouldn't leave it alone, man. We've been together for like, what, 6 years or whatever, and dude just would never leave us alone. And one day he kicked in the door because he thought I wasn't there to beat her up or whatever he thought he was going to do, and I laid him down. I said, is your girl still with you? Is she holding you down? He was like, man, I'm going to be real with you, man. No, when I was going through trial, she abandoned me, man. Like his people was mad at her that I, you know, did that, and she just left the whole situation. She moved out of state and everything and just left me high and dry. I said, damn, man, that's cold. So I said, well, let me let you know, about prison, man. I said, number one, since you in the cell with me, ain't nobody really gonna mess with you, just, because, don't nobody want to with me, so they ain't gonna with you. But you're gonna have to carry yourself a certain way. When you talk to somebody, look them in the eye. All right, don't be looking down at the ground. Don't be looking all nervous. When you speak to somebody, look them in the face. I said another thing, don't gamble. Don't gamble at all. Unless you got money. Do you got like your mama, your daddy, or somebody put money on your books? He was like, no, I'm what y'all say, living off the land. I said, you ain't got nothing coming in? He was like, no, man, I'm here alone, man. I only got me. I said, well, listen, don't borrow nothing. Okay, don't borrow nothing from nobody. I'm your cellie and I'm cool. So if I'm doing a cook up, I'll look out for you. But for the first couple months, man, don't take nothing from nobody. It's gonna be cats in here that's gonna be like, yo, you good? You need some hygiene, you need some soap, You need some shampoo. You need some ramen noodles. You need you need a honey bun, anything. No, don't do it. Every motherfucker in here gonna want something back in return. So he was like, so what you want in return? I said, I don't want nothing. I want you to do good. I'm about to get paroled in a couple of months, man. So I'm just want to lace you up, man, so you can know how to survive in here. And he was like, okay, I respect that, OG. I said, another thing, don't have nobody in this cell, okay? Don't have nobody in this cell. If you're going to talk to somebody, want to have a conversation, do it outside the cell. Why? Because if something end up missing in this cell, I'm going to hold you responsible for it. And I mean, like you told me, you ain't got nothing to give me. So I just keep people out the cell, all right? He was like, all right, bet. I said, another thing. Now, I'm not trying to be funny, but this is real important. When you pee, I'm going to need for you to sit down, like sit down on the toilet. He was like, huh? I said, yeah, listen, no funny business. But the reason why I need for you to sit down is because when you pee, it'll splash back out and hit the floor. And as you can see, I keep this cell really clean. And that goes to the next thing. Clean up after yourself. We both grown up in here, all right? He was like, yeah, OG, I'm a clean person. I'm a cleanful person anyway. You know, I'm not a dirty guy. I said, okay, then, you know, take showers every day, brush your teeth and the whole nine. He was like, yeah, I get that. He was like, but you know what's funny, man? I never heard nobody say about the peeing. I thought you were just trying to like punk me out or something of telling me that I got to sit down. I said, nah, it ain't that. No, it's just, I don't want no pee getting splashed on the floor or anything. So, you know, just sit down when you pee and make sure you have that curtain up. Now, here's another thing. If you got to do a number 2, go to the community bathroom, okay? Because I don't want this cell be stinking up or anything. All right, and if you need some personal time for yourself or whatever, you know, just let me know. Like, OG, you know, I need some personal time for myself. And I'll let you know, too, if I need some personal time for myself. You know, just put the white sheet up and, you know, I step out or whatever. You're like, okay, bet. And I said, one other thing. When you go to the prison shower, hold on, y'all. What the hell? Oh, okay. Okay, I know y'all to see me looking off to the side. A woman just pulled up, and it looked like, well, hold on, y'all. I'm going to wait till she go in right quick so I can tell y'all what I just seen. It just threw me all the way off. Hold on, y'all. Hold up. Ooh, bad little kids. Damn, I ain't gonna put her business out. But hold on, y'all. These kids wilding out. All right. So I told her one more thing. If you gotta go to the shower, because we didn't have showers in our cell. I said, if you gotta go to the shower, let me know and I'm gonna go with you. He was like, why you say that? I said, because there's a couple of guys in here that like white boys and you fit that whole criteria. He was like, man, ain't nobody gonna do. I said, listen, it ain't about what ain't nobody gonna do to you and what you ain't gonna say. I said, dude, you about what, 5'7", about what, 130, 140? So I hopped up off the bed, right? I said, I want you to come at me. He was like, huh? I said, yeah, I want you to come at me like you want to fight me or whatever, like swing on me. So he was like, oh, no, OG, I ain't about to hex. No, you will destroy me up here. I said, see, that right there is how they gonna get you. I said, this prison, man, I don't give a how big somebody is. I don't care how old somebody is. I don't care how scary they look, how muscular. Because back then, y'all, and Donta, you know, I was pushing 240 all muscle. I was stacked, right? Y'all can't tell right now because I done got older. I done got fat. You know, ain't been eating good. Well, I've been eating good, but unhealthy. Y'all know what I mean or whatever. But I do need to get back in shape. But anyway, I said, come at me, man. So he swing at me, and he swung so slow, I was like, step back. And I just punched him in the face, like, boom, right? Punched him right in the face. And he was like, oh, OG, man. I cracked him like right here. I ain't hit him in his eye. I hit him like in his forehead. And I was like, imagine if you was in the shower by yourself and the guy walked in there naked and told you that he wants something from you. And you tell him no. And you got to defend yourself. How you going to defend yourself against this man? He was like, man, I'll just scream and holler. I said, let me tell you something. Let you go in there try to scream and holler. That man will probably knock you out and go up in you. That man might put his hand over your mouth and get behind you and go up in you. I said, you need to pay attention, man. When you go to the shower, let me know so I can stand outside the door to make sure nobody run in on you or run up in you. All right. He was like, man, they be doing shit like that in here, man, OG. I said, yeah, this is why I'm telling you. Ain't none of that really going on right now. But hey, you never know. So he was like, all right, OG, all right. And I said, matter of fact, going out there in the day room, so people can see you, go out there. You ain't got to really talk to be friendly to nobody, but go out there because, some cats, they know you up in here and they might think that you scared and, that you staying in the cell. So go out there, mingle just a little bit. Don't be friendly, but go out there and let your face be known. You know what I'm talking about? He was like, all right, bet. So he leaves out. Now, I'm sitting on the bed, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what? I'm gonna look out for this youngin. I was reflecting on my whole prison bed of how I used to do dudes greasy up in there. Robbing, stealing, putting cats in predicaments what they owe me for the rest of their life. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a good deed. I'm going to look out for the white boy. So I said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look out for the white boy. So I peel out the cell, right? Now, my cell was at the top on the second tier. So when I bounce out the cell, I'm looking down. Guess who he's talking to? Of all people, guess who he's talking to? He's talking to Big Larry. I've been in my cell. He done left my cell maybe 4 minutes, 5 minutes tops. And he already conversating with Big Larry. And I'm like, of all people, so I make my presence known. I'm like, right? And everybody kind of looked that way. And Big Larry like, all right, man, I'm going to holler at you. And, put his hand on dude's shoulder and walk off. And he like, dude, like, Robert, like, what's up, OG? I said, come here, man, let me holler at you. So he come up the stairs. I said, hey, what was you and him talking about? He was like, no, he was asking me where I was from and did I need anything? I said, well, what did you say? Oh, I just told him, I'm good, I'm straight, whatever. I said, okay, all right, bet. He was like, hey, I don't mean no disrespect to you, OG, but I feel like you trying to like check me in a way, like you talk to me like you my daddy or something. So I said, oh, well, what make you feel that way? He said, because, the way that you just did that, like, I'm a man at the end of the day. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, let me tell you something, white boy. I'm trying to look out for you. That dude that you defending right now, talking about you can handle your own, that same guy is a dude. I said, you know what? Never mind. You good. You straight. He was like, no, man, what you mean? He what? I said, no, you good, bro. You good. So he was like, hey, I'm just saying, OG, I ain't no B. I ain't no B-I-T-C-H. I said, what? He was like, yeah, I ain't no B-I-T-C-H. I said, hey, listen, I don't know what you and him was just talking about or whatever, but, or all this attitude coming from, but you need to tone that shit down before I do something to you. He was like, you know what? It ain't too late to get out the cell with you. I'm gonna go check. I'm finna go get out the cell. So I'm sitting there like, what's up with this dude? So he go down there to the control booth, and he talking to the guard like, hey, it ain't gonna work out with me and him. Could I go to a different cell? So the guard like, hey, yo, Donta, what's going on? I said, I don't know. He just want to get out the cell. Ain't no issue. And he was like, oh, all right. So he asked him, like, what cell you want to go to? He was like, I want to go there with that guy over there. And he was talking about Larry. So when he said Larry, the CEO looked at him like, you sure you want to go in there? He was like, yeah, man, I'm sure I want to go in there. He was like, nah, you gonna stay in there with Donta. You gonna stay in there with him. So he was like, okay, man, all right, whatever. So he come back upstairs. He like, listen, I tried to get moved out. The guard said, I got to stay in here. I said, let me tell you something. You already disrespected me, talking to me like you some type of tough guy or something. But I'm gonna let that slide because you new here. The next time you do that shit, I'm going to beat your ass up in this cell. He was like, oh no, OG, it's all good, man. I'll just let you know that I'm a man or whatever. I don't really need for you to look out for me like that. I said, all right, bet. We gonna fast forward to maybe 6 days later. He been out there fraternizing with Big Larry, right? And I see the play. And every time I try to tell him, like, yo, don't do this, don't do that. Big Larry is on the yard helping him work out. He on a weight bench. And I remember when I'm walking past, I look over there, dude is on his back, pushing the weights up, the bar or whatever. And Big Larry is literally, how can I put this? Big Larry basically got his nuts hanging over this white dude head, right? It's like when you lifting weights and you got a spotter, the spotter should not be all up on you like that. Yeah, he supposed to be behind you, making sure, lifting the bar or whatever. But ain't no way this dude his junk supposed to be right there on your damn head or whatever. And I seen that, and I'm like, yeah, Larry doing what he do. See, this is what they do. They don't come at you directly at what they want. They're try to, keep trying to push the envelope. They're like for instance, he know damn well he should not be all up on this dude while he lifting weights like that. Step back. But if the white boy ain't saying nothing and he letting it go down, he gonna keep doing shit like that. When they playing basketball, one-on-one basketball, he defending him all up on him, real close up on him. Every time they having a conversation, he always ha, and put his hand on him. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, man, you crazy, rubbing his head and like that, man. You don't let none of that slide. You know what I'm talking about? You got to check that right at the door, or these dudes gonna keep doing this shit, right? So anyway, like I said, about 6-7 days will go by. And every time he about to take a shower, he like, hey, OG, can you hold me down? I'm about to go take a shower, right? For the last 2 times, he done took showers without telling me, right? So we gonna say this happened Saturday night. Now, I told y'all maybe about 2 years ago, we had this CEO named Officer Rodriguez. He was a cool Mexican CEO, and he used to work the weekend shift. And he would let us stay out longer. We on the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, we supposed to lock down at 10 at night or whatever. But if everything was going good, there wasn't no fights, no arguing, everything was cool, he'll let us lock down around 12 or 1 a.m., right? As long as we ain't acting a fool. Now, adjacent to our unit, it's like like a workout place where there's a basketball court. It ain't that big though. It ain't super big, but if you ever been to a county jail, y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just I can't even give y'all the measurements, but it got a little basketball and basketball court in there, a little weight pile, whatever. So they playing basketball. Robert and Larry and some other cats playing basketball, so they sweating. So Officer Rodriguez, like, listen, y'all gonna have to lock it down a little early. Y'all gonna have to lock it down at midnight, right? Now, I instantly tell dude, like, yo, you gonna have to get in the shower. He like, I'm gonna get in the shower, OG, I'm gonna get in the shower, right? Here you go, y'all. It's about 11:40. I'm in the cell. Right, I'm about to get ready to lay it down. I made me a cook up and everything. And I'm watching, I think, the Twilight Zone. No, I was watching Outer Limits. Outer Limits. That's what I was watching. And he come in there. Right? The white boy come in there. White boy Robert come in there. And he getting his stuff ready. I said, yeah, hurry up, man, so before we get locked down. He like, I got you, OG. Now, remember, y'all, he haven't asked me to watch him hold him down in the shower in like 3 days now. So he go ahead and go down there, right? Usually when he take a shower, he'll be down there for maybe about 5 minutes, 6 minutes tops. Remember, y'all, it's 11:40. 20 minutes before these doors get locked. 11:45. No sign of them. 11:50. No sign of them. 11:55. You got Officer Rodriguez. All right, y'all. Y'all got 5 minutes. Y'all got 5 minutes. Midnight. There's no Robert. So I hear everybody coming in, closing their doors, you know. So I jump up. And, you know, I come out the cell and I'm looking over the tier and I don't see Robert, right? So I'm like, well, maybe this dude, maybe in somebody's cell or whatever is going on. So I go back and I go lay down and finish eating my cook up. Now, when everybody get put in their cell, Officer Rodriguez, you know, he check all the cells. And then he go check the shower, right? And then he checked like that rec room. So he walking through, you know, seeing who all up in there or whatever. He get to my cell. He like, hey, where your bunkie at? I said, shit, I don't know. He said he was going to the shower. So he was like, oh, all right. So then he walk off, finish doing this round. And then he go out there to the court, you know, the little rec room or whatever, clear that. Then he go to the shower. When he went to that shower, y'all, all I heard was, cold black, cold black, cold black, oh, hell no. And you hear him on the walkie-talkie, right? So when he yelling that, we all getting up, we getting on the bar trying to see what's going on. I need a medic unit. I need a medic right now. I need a medic unit. They come in, the CERT team come in, 2 nurses run in there, and they go in a prison shower. Something told me, like, it got to be Robert. It got to be Robert. They bring Robert out on the stretcher. Now, Robert is alive, y'all. He didn't pass away. But the way they brought Robert out, Robert was laying on his stomach and his ass up. And when I say I'm going to say this, y'all. My granddad used to say, and I know y'all heard this saying before, a hard head make a soft ass. A hard head make a soft ass. Now, can I say 100% that Big Larry took white boy Robert cheeks in the prison shower against his will? I don't know. Can I say 100% that Big Larry, it was consensual? I don't know. I know about 3 hours later, around about 3 o'clock in the morning, the guards, about 10 guards come up in there, right? And they pull Larry ass right out that cell. Right out of the cell. He like, what? Man, I ain't douche. They made, they drew Larry blood, right? They took his DNA. It came back that Larry's semen was inside of Robert. So they put 2 and 2 together, later on down the road, with Robert testimony about Big Larry coming in there and violating him. And the DNA, Big Larry got convicted for, the hard R word. Let me tell y'all something right quick. Because I know. I see a whole bunch of prison YouTube guys that be telling these type of stories or whatever, but they always say like, these dudes ain't in there taking nobody no more because it's a lot of homosexuals already in there that's giving it up in prison. Yeah, that's true. But then again, there's the ones that want something new, that want something tight, that ain't been tampered with. You know what I'm talking about? It's just like out here in the streets where you get a guy that, it's like, like women that's real loose, right? Cats don't be wanting these loose women all the time. They want something new. They want something tight. And there's no difference from these booty bandits. Y'all be safe. I'm out. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you hit that like button for me. Also, if you like stories like this, make sure you check out Stacy's Storytime.
Stacy's Storytime.
I'll have her link pinned at the top of the comment section. Make sure y'all go check her out. If you want to continue to show your support for the Donta Show Network, make sure you send your weekly donation to our Cash App, our PayPal, and our Zelle. It is highly appreciated. Until next time, take care.